spiritual life, especially for those of us who have, say, constant contact with the sacred and with the religious, is the danger of taking the sacred for granted, of it becoming routine and losing its true value, right? The overexposure, you could say. Today's gospel is a good one to help snap us out of that, to kind of give us a gut check and remember, who is this and what is this faith of ours? Who is this Lord of ours? Jesus reminds us that he's a greater sign of conversion than Judah, right? He's a greater source of wisdom than Solomon. And it leads us to ask ourselves, if the pagan Ninevites totally converted at Jonah's preaching, and the Queen of Sheba traveled more than 1,600 miles each way to go see King Solomon, are we converting with that same fervor? Are we seeking Jesus Christ with that same zeal, with that same fire every day, right? When we come into his presence, when we seek him here at the Mass? Do we have that same desire, that same motivation? As profoundly as the Ninevites, right? As strong as the Queen of Sheba? It's a good question for examination, a good thing to remember today. Today's also Columbus Day. That's another reminder. It's another chance to gut check us of something that is very politicized and lost in politics today, which first became a national holiday in 1937 by FDR, who declared a national holiday on October 12th, which is its official day, which is more true to the original spirit of what today actually commemorates. And 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. So goes that poem that so many of us have learned to remember that date. That epic event, right? The epic event of Columbus under the banners of the Catholic kings of Spain, coming and discovering America. The Niña de Pinta and the Santa Maria, Holy Mary. But before he came to America, before he discovered the Americas, right, he had petitioned twice King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella to be given the support to go out on this. And they, with all their advisors, thought it was absurd. Right? They couldn't afford, they couldn't risk supporting him in that. So Columbus goes off to this Franciscan convent, this monastery, because he was basically broke. And that's where he was staying for a while. He becomes friends with the prior, Father Juan Perez. And this prior becomes friends with him, believes in his plan, and he has kind of contacts in the courts and in the church. And so he's able to intercede for him. And once the church says that she'll back it as well, and she'll help support, right, then he goes back again, and he petitions King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella, and they decide they will support him, right, knowing that the church will also back him. And something very interesting is the central part of this mission, and Christopher Columbus presents this to the kings, the king and the queen, Los Reyes Católicos, they call them, is he hopes to carry the name and doctrine of Jesus Christ into distant regions. And then he presents a letter to Pope Alexander VI, an official one, asking for missionaries to come with him. He says, I trust that by God's help I may spread the holy name and the gospel of Jesus Christ as widely as possible. This is the man whose mind we want to throw down because he's a source of division and corruption and all of that they want us to believe. Interesting also, the flagship of Christopher Columbus was Santa Maria de la Inmaculada Concepción, of the Immaculate Conception, which later on, toward the end of the 1800s, the bishops, the U.S. bishops, declared the Immaculate Conception, right, as the patroness of the United States of America. That's the invocation that we honor her under as our patroness. She's also the connection there that they saw so clearly. And so why October 12th? So when Columbus is sailing, it wasn't so easy, and his crew became a little anxious, a little doubtful. And so he promised them, if we don't see land by October 12th, which was a very important day, right? October 12th is the feast of Nuestra Señora de Pilar, Our Lady of the Pillar, the first apparition of Our Lady in Spain. So for the Spanish people, it's a very important day. So okay, if we don't see land by that day, we'll turn around and go home. And of course, on October 12th, they do see land, and they make landfall. And that first island is called San Salvador, the Holy Savior. Again, this amazing faith that they were bringing to these lands. And there's many more facts that we could remember, that we cherish, that we should remember and cherish. But the point is that this day should be a day of thanksgiving. It shouldn't be a day of shame or of embarrassment, but a day to honor and to cherish and remember those other founding fathers. In a certain sense, the more true founding fathers who brought their greatest treasure. Right? They didn't come to run off with our treasure and our gold, but they came to give us the greatest treasure, which is the Catholic faith and the Catholic culture. So let today be also a day of thanksgiving as we remember Columbus Day.